Welcome to our third episode of Dugout Talk. I am here with my brother Tommy and actually my son Casey Downs. Tonight we're going to really talk about kind of his recruiting process and how he got through it and then all the way through college, and then just some advice for some of the players out there that are currently looking for a college to play at. So Tommy and I are going to ask him a few questions each. We're going to go back and forth. And so a little bit about Casey. Casey's now what, 27 years old, got a big boy job, graduated with his master's.
I'll let him fill all that. I'll let him fill all that in, brother. He's a big boy.
Thanks to COVID year. But anyway, Casey, tell us a little bit about you, buddy. Let everybody know who you are.
Yeah. So I am a retired collegiate athlete. With kind of with that COVID year that extended my time playing, which was really great. A lot of people don't think they don't see the benefit, but I was able to get a master's degree from that, which being a student athlete, a lot of people think of the sports, but schooling is just as important.
Absolutely.
And it's allowed me to get the job that I have now. And I work in women's genetics for a company called Myriad Genetics. But, all this really, it couldn't have happened without school. Yes, but baseball. And I think through the years of playing baseball in college and even growing up before that, it's really developed me and kind of given me that competitive and that grit attitude and resilience, really the big word. Just to keep going, not giving up, really.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for that, and I'm really happy to share with everybody and tell my journey a little bit.
Nah, that's awesome, dude. Yeah. Tommy, anything? Uncle
Yeah,
Tom?
my dog, Casey, my dog. Hey, man. Love you on here. This is a big deal for all athletes and parents as well, just to kind of see what it takes and what the journey is, because obviously everybody's journey is a little different. The good thing about having you on here is you get to tell your story, and you've done things a lot of people haven't done at the collegiate level, especially having the long career you did and going through what you did. And that's the great thing about this, is now you get to kind of say your piece. And when people are getting to the point of getting to that level and seeing what they have to go through, they can kind of hear from your experiences, which I think is huge. And that's what your dad and I are trying to sell out here and talk about, is the experience and the knowledge and what is needed. So this is awesome. I'd love to have you out here, brother.
I'm glad to be here. I honestly, it's great that you guys are able to put on a platform like this for mom and dads, but really for the kids going through this, to see just the process, because there's a lot that goes into it, and there's a lot that many kids out there, they don't understand. And you kind of learn as you go, and that's kind of what's made me who I am now. I've learned at each kind of path I've went in my career, I've learned every step of the way. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. Let's get going.
Okay, that's a great segue, Case, right into kind of our questions from your uncle and I. I'm going to start it off. Okay, kid.
Let's do it.
This is the first question. Here you go. I'm going to hammer the heck out of you right now.
Save the best for last. That's what I'm talking about, Jack.
God, here we go. Same old Jesus. All right, hold on. So, what was your recruiting experience in high school like? It's a two-part question. I'll give you the second part after you answer that.
Yeah, I gotta say, the recruiting piece, I had a brother to kind of see how the process of, and how important it is to, send emails out to schools, getting a hold of coaches, just marketing yourself. Because one thing I really learned from you growing up is you're your own business, and nobody else is going to market you but yourself. And just for each athlete, there's thousands upon thousands of athletes out there, but at the same time there's thousands upon thousands of schools, and everybody is needing somebody.
That's right.
And nobody is going to know who you are if you don't get your name out, if you don't get you don't market yourself. And especially in the world today, with how big social media is and marketing, you have such a big platform and such a great way for college coaches and people to see you and your talents. So, my recruiting process was, it was great, and I the reason I say that is because, luckily I had you in my back pocket, and you're a big advocate for me for kind of teaching me what to do, how to go about it. But I gotta say, um, in the years I was in high school, I didn't really have coaches to help me get to that next place. I didn't, and I learned a lot from it. But what I really learned is that I'm marketing myself, and they're not going to vouch for me. I have to vouch for myself. So that experience, I sending out emails, taking videos of myself. I think videos are most important, whether you're at practice or in game. In game is huge because that's where you're getting your live reps, you're seeing live pitching. So you got mom and dad in the stands, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, any friend really. Get get somebody to record you, because video tells all. And Coach Tommy, Uncle Tommy, I bet when you get to see live action in games, that's fantastic. So I think,
Yeah.
But not always the case, right? You're right. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So that's a great point, Case. Again, we're talking about marketing yourself when we talk about that all night long, really. And something you made a point about, the coach is not doing a lot for you. That's reality, actually. There's different types of coaches. There's coaches that go out their way, and there's coaches that absolutely don't, right? Even in summer ball, they're out there, they're coaching, and they got all these kids, and you're just not on the top of their mind or whatever. But their job is to keep you on the field and get you, playing, so then you can do something great and hopefully get noticed, right? But everything else is on your own. It literally is on your own. And I will tell everybody that you went all the way up to the end of your high school year before you signed a letter of intent. And then, of course, the summer collegiate league that you played in, you killed it. And then it kind of went on from there. We can talk about that a little bit later. So the second part of your question was, were you recruited out of high school or summer ball? Summer collegiate?
That's a great question. And, I was actually, it was a little bit of both. And let me explain. So, I first originally signed to go to Central Washington University over in Ellensburg, and that was all the kids right now. If you're watching this and you're kind of in that last minute panic to try to find a school, like I signed on my senior day, and I got all this done a couple weeks before or during season. So like I said, if you're panicking, kind of slow it down a little bit, because you still have a lot of time. And kind of the transition for that, I signed to go to Central Washington. Everything, was going good. And, I finished my senior year, did pretty good. And then I wanted to play summer baseball, because that's really where, you get so much reps, and also, you get some notice. And for me, I had a pretty good year in the summer league.
Collegiate league, right? The collegiate league.
Yeah, I played really well. I got a lot of reps, but most importantly, I got videos and I got documentation for my own self. And with that, that's how I landed at my first school that I went to. Which, transferring over to that, my first school I went to was University of New Mexico. And when I was over there, I know everybody's like, hey, I want to go play D1. That's the pinnacle. I want to play there. That's where I get the most notice. And hey, I was the same way. I wanted to, and I did. I got there. It was fantastic, and the competition level was awesome. I loved it, and I couldn't have happened if I didn't play summer ball, and I didn't get the reps and the videos, and honestly the confidence, because I think that's a huge part too. Because in that collegiate league, you're not playing with kids that are 18 only. You're playing with men. You're playing with
22, 23.
21-year-olds, 22. You're playing with grown men. So you're kind of getting a little taste of kind of how college is going to be. And I was able to hang, and that confidence, it really took off with me. So I was super blessed that happened. And it was I was really fortunate to be able to play in that.
So
summer.
let's talk about that. So instead of going to Central, you actually signed last part of the summer to University of Mexico because they saw these videos and they're like, this kid's killing it in this collegiate league, which you were an all-star. You don't like talking about yourself, but you were an all-star, right? Out of out of the whole team, there's only a couple of you. So that it gave you opportunities, right? And if your uncle doesn't start smiling, I swear to God, I'm gonna take him off the screen. What the heck's wrong with this dude? He looks like an RBF on his face. Anyway,
No, I'm good. I'm focused in. I'm ready.
Focused. He ain't packing a smile. Anyway, all right, Casey, thank you. That's my first question. Tommy, you're up, Chief.
Right on, my man. All right, so Case, first question for you. And you kind of touched on this a little bit, but I kind of want you to get more in depth of, what the effect was on you as an athlete going from a big school to a smaller school. Because I know that's tough for athletes.
He hasn't really talked about that yet, right? So, because we haven't brought that question up. So, you want to rephrase it a little bit? Want to rephrase it? Something else?
Well, I can ask that later if you want. That's fine.
Yeah. Switch that up because
okay.
I'm saying, and he just hasn't got there just yet. So maybe question number 2 or something.
All right, this is an even better one. You ready for this, Case?
No.
Hit me with it.
What would you say today to the high school version of yourself now that you've gone through this process and done everything? What would you say?
Wow.
And this is what's cool is as I'm getting older, the one big thing I'm always trying to tell myself is, never, don't have any regrets, right? And
no regret.
If there's one thing that I, kind of like looking back at that high school version, there's a couple things I can go into, but
always look high. Always look high.
Always look high, Daniel-san. Always look high. One big thing I would say is, all the kids out there, trying to get in shape. Like you got to be, like I said, your biggest advocate, but you got to get your body right. And this is something I didn't find out about until my senior year of college, which.
Well, hold on. Who's been telling you that your whole life?
No. You have, but
you just were drinking the Kool-Aid. I get it.
Well, finally, I drank the Kool-Aid, and like your body's a pyramid, right? So you wanna give your body the best advantage you can have, and especially when you're playing collegiate sports, and you're going against grown men. You want grown men and women. My apologies, and you want to be the best version of yourself. And I know there's a lot of things kind of going on in that period of time, but the one thing that I realized is when I started hitting the weight room the right way, there's a wrong way and there's a right way, and you got to find out what type of exercises you can do to better yourself, whether that's kettlebell swings or med ball slams, something to give you explosiveness, strength in the right ways. Like, let's be real here. Are you going to get on the bench press, 215, and it's gonna, you got to find out what ways are really going to give you that edge over, the person standing across from you on the diamond.
And Casey, to add to that is, and sorry to cut you off, but it's because everybody's built different. I mean, some people have faster twitch, some people need different things, right? So kind of what you're saying is that you have to know yourself and know how to build yourself. And that's the key, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. And for me, I'll be real. I wouldn't say I was a tubbier kid, but I wasn't too on the slimmer side, but I had a lot of untapped power that I couldn't get into. And
hey, your dad was. It's okay, bro. It's okay, your dad was.
Come on, let's go. This dude
that was wrong.
Hey, let's not compare resumes. That's not. We're not measuring. We're not measuring.
Coattails. Here we go.
Yeah, well, and I say that because when I got to my senior year of college and I started lifting the right way, I just had this strength that I'd never had before, and this endurance and stamina. Like, I was taking BP and I was flicking balls out. And, before that, and of course I had some time to develop my swing a little bit more, and I had more wisdom and more knowledge, but truthfully, like, I had more juice. Like
Yeah.
I could flip my big thing, forearms are huge with anything, so like, grip strength, bat speed, all that stuff, like it changed my game completely. And with not even with that, like I got in better conditioning, like, and I wasn't running miles and miles, because this is a topic I can get into for crazy, but I won't do it. But
You're not a track star. You're a
yeah,
baseball.
yeah, when you're on the baseball field, you're not running miles. You're doing sprints. It's quick movements in
Which, yeah.
which,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
and
Casey and I've been challenged that you actually started getting stronger your junior year.
yeah, I did. Well,
Yeah.
that's when I drank the Kool-Aid a little bit more, and we can get to that part of the schooling a little bit later,
Yeah.
kind of why, but everything made more sense for me. I figured, hey, I've understood college a little bit. Now it's time to develop myself more. I want to take advantage of this opportunity because I'm running out of time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I need every tool in my pocket that I can use.
Yeah, I agree.
Great answer, Casey. Love it, man. Awesome.
Yeah. All
Tony?
right, Case. I'm going on to number 2 here, buddy. So was the NCAA Division I college what you thought it would be? And all right. And so the second part of that question is, how many catchers were recruited, because you were a catcher, were recruited to play for the University of New Mexico your freshman year? Because they both tie into each other, right? Everybody wants that D1 dream, but was it everything you thought it was? And obviously, when you got there, did you think there was only going to be 3 of you, or 6 of you?
That's a really good question.
How many questions you get, Tony? Jesus. We get 4, but not 15.
Because it's my pleasure.
Yeah, it's everybody's dream to go to D1. Everybody, they want to play on the biggest stage against the best competition, and I wanted to do that. And I worked my butt off to do it as well. And the one big thing that I understood when I got there is, hey, I'm playing with some grown men, and I'm not just playing with some grown men. I'm playing with, a Gatorade Player of the Year, a recent freshman All-American. And, not saying that I was deterred from any competition, but I knew I had my work cut out for me. And
Yeah.
I was all on board. I was ready, fired off and ready to go. But, as time kind of went on, I realized, hey, I want to play. And, a lot of kids, they want to go to these big Division I's because they think, hey, that's going to be the fastest way I can get from the next step, straight line, right? But
Pros. Yeah.
to the pros.
Pro
But in all reality, you got D2, D3, NAI, all these different JUCO, all these different schools that can get you to that next point.
Yeah.
And I would be lying to you if I said I was not excited to be there, because you got the big out atmosphere, you got a huge campus, beautiful fields, facilities, equipment, you got everything. But in all reality, you got to put in the work to be on that 40 man at the end of the year, or when that season starts. And I'm not going to say, oh, like I couldn't do this and that, I busted my butt for it. But, when you're going up against some grown men, there's going to be some challenges you got to face. So,
yeah. And so there was, how many catchers were there when you got there?
When I got there, it was 5, 6, including me. So,
freshman All-American catcher, and then you 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that 2 got cut.
Yeah, and there was a couple of the freshmen along with me. So,
and then
there's a lot of good competition, which is not a terrible thing. But at the end of the day, you got to understand, what am I here for? Do I want to keep working and maybe redshirt a year, or do I want to really stick it out and grind for it, or do I want to play right away? Well, you got to know what you really want. That's the big key.
100%.
And you redshirted, correct?
Yeah, I redshirted.
Well, they redshirted you, which is actually good, because they could have cut you. They didn't. They cut 2 other guys. So it was probably a blessing, though, right? Because you thought, I'm just kind of speaking for you here because of what you said, but knowing what I know, though, you were like, I want to be on the field. I don't want to be on the bench for 4 years. behind a
Yeah,
freshman
like in
American
that
or
on
whatever.
that note, like in all reality, who wants to watch? Nobody.
Not a
You wanna
player.
you wanna and you wanna be a good teammate. I couldn't agree more with that. You wanna be a great teammate, but you're your own business. You wanna play, you wanna get your money's worth, right?
Yeah.
College is not cheap. And you know, you wanna play. And at the end of the day, I wanted to play. I was tired of that. I wanted to play. So
Okay. So I
Nice.
appreciate that. All right, Tommy, you're up.
Oh, geez, that was like 6 questions, man. Jesus, I almost forgot mine. So many
He,
dang
he did forget his. Let me help you out. You want me to help you out?
questions. So, Case, I'm actually going to change one of these questions for you. I'm going to kind of go a little deeper on another subject since you were talking about it. You know, knowing who you are and watching you grow up has been a big blessing for me because I had all girls, right? So
Mhm.
I got to kind of live, my fantasy dreams in baseball, through my brother's kids, which were you and your brother. So I got to say that, my biggest thing for me is, especially as a college coach, is when I'm out there looking for athletes, I'm looking for high character kids, selfless kids, because I'm not babysitting anybody. I'm not going to constantly check up on them. They need to be able to do their job. And I can't I have too much to do to focus on people having issues. How important do you think it is being a selfless teammate, being, high character? Because I could tell you right now, Casey, if I was to say anything about you, I would have to say that's in your top 2 things that you possess as an athlete and a person. And that's the kind of people I want to surround myself with. So tell me, what do you think about, how important it is to be that kind of a player? Because as a catcher that you were, I mean, you had such a great relationship with pitchers. That's why it continued to push you even past college level. So can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, I'd love to. And when you're talking about great teams, you can even look in like, the professional baseball, like the camaraderie that you see, it's off the charts. Like a good example for those baseball watchers on here, the Phillies, like Bryce Harper, all those people on the they're like this. They're close and tight. And I think the biggest thing for me is I wanted to get to know everybody on my team. I wanted to know kind of who they are and how I can make them be the best version of themselves when I'm on the field with them. Because, it's really tough to play with people when you're not all on board on the same mission,
Yeah,
Yeah,
right? And
facts.
that,
and
100%.
as even for you as a coaching perspective, it's really hard to get people on to carry the boat when you got people not on board, like when they're really thinking about themselves rather than about the team. And it takes 9 to win a ball game. It really does. It takes 9 and then some.
Yes.
So I just think personally, like with me, I will say, I do have an infectious personality to where I wanna make people happy, but I wanna do it in the right ways. I'm not gonna kiss your butt. I'm not gonna do things. I'm gonna find out who you are, and I'm gonna find out ways that I can elevate you. Whether
Gotcha.
that's a good example, because and no disrespect to any pitchers, but there's that notion that some pitchers are weird and they operate in different ways. And it's
That's
true.
funny. That's
It's
true. That is
That's why we
true.
call him the unicorn. That's why we call him the unicorn.
Yeah,
They
that's right.
are,
Nothing wrong with them. It's just they
So,
got to be different. They got to be different.
when they're in their heads and they're like, you go to
Yeah.
talk to them at the mound, you can't, like, there's people that I'm gonna rip into and tell them, hey, get your stuff together. We gotta get this person out. We gotta win, and they can handle that. But then there's people that I walk up and I'm like, how you doing? I mix some stuff up. I tell them a joke just to get their mind off of it. So
Yeah.
that comes with a little bit of a different personality, but you know, I think at the end of the day, you all got to be on board. And I going back to that note with you being a coach, like, would you rather have people that are for themselves, or would you rather have people that are for the team? What works better?
Yeah. I mean, again, when we just talked about that, right? Because if I have anybody that's against that doesn't want to work together, we can't win no matter what. We will eventually
Yeah.
lose. It's the way it is.
Yeah, and I will tell you that when Tommy and I have been out just recruiting kids, and we look in the dugout, and we can hear them talk. We can see their reactions. We can see their body language. It's a turnoff, and we turn around and walk away because, again, he said he's looking for high character kids, and he's not the only one. Most coaches are, and they're looking for good teammates. If you're a good teammate, then that's the kid they're really going to invest.
And when does that start? When you're looking, kind of like throwing this at you guys, when you guys are out there recruiting, when does that start? When you're observing, does it start at game time? Does that start right before game time when they're stretching?
Yeah, Casey, that's a great question. And we've talked about it in recent podcasts, but I'll tell you right now, and Tony and I are big on this. As soon as we step out of our car, we're looking at everybody.
Everybody.
We're watching them walk to their cars, their mom and dads.
We're watching them take stuff out of the car.
Yeah, at their snack bar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they have their phone immediately. Are they engaged? I mean, do they really want to be recruited? I mean, there's a lot of factors in there, man. And I know a lot of coaches that are way more cutthroat than me when it comes to those little things. But I can tell you right now, if you're out there, mom and dad are spending all that money for that weekend, and you're at some tournament or something, the summer ball, and the first thing you do is jump right on your phone and you're not engaged in anything else, it's hard, man. It's hard that a coach has to buy that. Because there's a lot of coaches, especially at the upper levels, where they play cutthroat island. If you don't fit, you don't fit. You're bye. See ya. They're not playing. So that's why we're doing this, Casey, is that it's important that people understand that now.
Totally.
Now.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Casey, that's a great question. Tommy, good job. Okay, so my next question.
Hey, did you say thanks, bro? Appreciate that, man. Nice.
Sometimes I got to pat him on the back because if not, he starts crying and shit. Okay. Anyway, so if you had to do it all over again, would you pursue D1 or would you look elsewhere?
That's a great question. And
like knowing what you know now,
that's a great question because, like I said, everybody wants to take that D1 route, and you don't know until you go, right? But from being in my shoes, kind of going through what I went through, if I could go through it all over again, I would go where I'm wanted 100%.
Well, you were wanted.
Oh, no. Yeah. Let me rephrase it. I will go. Yeah. I will go where it's going to best benefit me in the long run.
Like like getting there and getting run on the field.
Yeah. Like I said, okay. You want to be a good teammate. You want to watch your team win, but who doesn't want to be a part of that?
Yeah.
I know I do. Like, I want to be the one in that deep position where, everybody's watching me and I'm the hero of the day. Or, I'm, like I said, I'm a catcher where I'm blocking balls after balls in the dirt and I'm keeping guys at bay, and everybody's, they're cheering me on, but, not in that, like, I want to hear that, but like, I'm doing it for the people to the left and to the right of me. And there's a bigger purpose for what I'm doing. And so if I had to do it all over again, I'd go to a school where I could really get my full maximum, ability playing. And, out of the schools I went to, I was so blessed to meet so many people, which is an amazing thing. But when I went to, my NAIA, I had the best time. Like, I made great relationships, and those relationships, they were on the field too. It was even more impacting if that kind of makes sense.
So since you're on that subject, go ahead and tell me your transition from University of New Mexico to Saddleback, and then after that. So you went to a JUCO.
Yeah.
So to a JUCO because you redshirted.
I redshirted, and I went to school for about a year and a half. I went to Western Oregon, and hey, honestly, kind of same thing there. I busted my butt.
5 or 6 catchers, right?
Yeah, same thing. They recruited some more guys, and I was playing with some grown men, and nothing bad about that school. I loved it. It was an awesome opportunity, but it was the same thing. I wanted to play. Like, at the end of the day, like, I wanted to play. And after about a year and some change, I made the transition to go to my junior college at Saddleback, and I played. I was playing right away, and I was getting opportunities that I wasn't getting. And when you make these changes from school to school, for some people it could be really demoralizing. It can take away from it can take away your heart of the game. And thankfully, my grit and my resilience, I wanted to keep going. Like, I didn't want to cower away. Like, I rose to the occasion. And I took it more serious. I developed my craft. I harnessed it. And, from that, it got me to my next school. I ended up going to Culver Stockton out over in Missouri.
You
And
broke records.
I broke records. Yeah. And during COVID, and I played a COVID year. And, if anybody played during COVID, it was really sad. It took away my whole year. And I was doing really good. I had a couple homers,
Well, you had more than a couple. You were hitting the piss out of the ball. I think
Yeah,
you
I was.
I was and home runs. Yeah.
I was seeing a beach ball, and it felt, for those of you who have felt that feeling, you don't ever want to let that go.
Yeah.
And that transition, I ended up going back that next year, and I got to play a full year. And I got to tell you, it was one of the best feelings I've ever had. And, I developed these amazing relationships, but I was able to play. Like, I was able to strap it on each day, and I was knowing that, hey, I'm gonna go out there. I'll be able to play. I'm gonna get my swings in.
Yeah.
I'll be a guy, and that's what everybody wants to do. They want to be that person for their school, and they want to be, they want to play. And I wanted to get my money's worth. I did, and I can't tell you how good of a feeling that was.
Yeah, and we're running out of time. We only have like 8 minutes left, but I will say that I know this, that when Casey was there at that school and he was leaving soon, he had another catcher that was underneath him that was his backup, and Casey never came out, but Casey helped him to get better. So when he left, that dude started and took over, and that says a lot about Casey and about what we're trying to talk about with these kids that that we're recruiting character and wanting to just not worry about your own stats, but actually make your teammates better. And Casey, you said that a few times now already. So Tommy, I'm going to let you ask the next question. I'm going to have one. I think we're going to be done.
Okay. So Case, this one's kind of a big deal for me just because, in the realm of collegiate, coaching, talk about your scenarios. It could be any of the schools, could be all of them. You can just briefly talk about all of them, but how much of a factor do you think it is going to each school based on the coaching staff? How big of a factor is it to you? Or what?
Huge. Oh yeah, that's huge. I mean, I don't know if this is a good example, but you're a product of who you play for too. Like, and I say that because, coaches, they're the ones putting the lineup together. You're the coach, you're the person you're seeing each and every day out on the field, at morning weights, at the game, like you name it, you're going to be with them from fall to spring to everything. Like, you're going to be with them the whole time. So, you're going to learn a lot about them, but honestly, it's such an important factor because it's going to be pretty much how your year goes. If you have somebody who really believes in you and that wants to work with you, it's monumental, and I've had great coaches and I've had, not so good coaches, and I won't name names. I won't, but
yeah, don't need to.
Yeah, I've had coaches that, they didn't want to make me get to the next level. They flat out said, I don't care about you. I don't care what you do. I'm worried about that next generation. And, as a player, that hurts. Really, it hurts. But then I've had coaches who, I said, hey, after practice, can we go get some extra cuts? Or even after a game, I'm like, I didn't feel good on this. Let's work through something. And they're like, heck yeah. And if anything, they like that. They love that. And, that speaks volumes, because that one-on-one or even that personal feeling as a player, it gives you that inspiration to kind of like, run through a wall if they tell you to, and go the extra mile.
Yeah, that coach's connection. I always tell everybody, you're with somebody for 4 years, hopefully, so you better get along with each other. Life is tough. I mean, obviously, they can't control playing time neither as much as you, but it's going to be based on your attitude, your effort, and your consistency, right? And that's the tough part, right? Especially if you have a very talented university. It's tough. The squad's tough that way. But yeah, love it, Casey. Love it, man. Good job.
All right, Casey. This is our last question. We got 4 minutes left. I'm gonna just skip through everything. You didn't get drafted. You had a great year. You were all conference catcher. You know, I mean, you did what you could do. There was the percentage of getting drafted was very, very small, right? At any level. So you actually took a job with the Milwaukee Brewers and the Kansas City Royals. You want to talk a little bit about that? You got about 4 minutes.
Yeah, that was probably one of the coolest experiences I got to do. And for those of you that are baseball goers, I got to catch some dudes because I got to help out with the Brewers for their rehab over in
Phoenix.
Yeah, over in Phoenix, at their spring training facility. And you know, I got to catch Corbin Burns. I got to catch man, I'm forgetting his name right now.
You
Freddie Peralta.
Yeah, yeah.
I got to catch some serious dudes. And I think one of the coolest experiences is I got to see some nastiness. Like and with I think the coolest thing is I could hang with that, you know.
Well, they had just to go back really quick, you had to try out. Like they had to try you out. And if you could not catch these guys that throw 98 miles an hour with a dirty slider and sinker and everything else, you're not the guy. Right.
Yeah.
And so they gave you the job.
Yeah, they had some nasty stuff. And when I was, when they were getting a feel for me, I was catching some dudes in the upper nines too, with not just straight stuff that was moving horizontal, sideways, So it was a bit of I had to take a little breather. I can't lie, but it was an amazing experience. And, it was something that really showed me like, hey, like I could do that, and it wasn't,
absolutely.
It wasn't out of reach, but, it gave me a little taste of that. And quite frankly, it made me love the game that much more. It made me it was such an amazing experience. And I got to suit up. They gave me Brewers. They gave me gear. They gave me pants and the jersey and some shirts. And I loved it.
You were one of the guys.
I felt like one of the guys. And you got to see these
dudes. Yeah.
They were talking to me. Not saying like they wouldn't talk to me, but like you hear like you get the big league treatment where they big league you. They don't talk to you, but like when they see somebody working their butt off, they pay respect. You give respect when respect is due. And I had just the best experience doing that for both the Brewers and for the Royals. So I was very, very grateful.
Yeah, you're with the coaches locker room, right?
Yeah, I was at the coaches. But hey, man, that was awesome. Like
who was your locker mate? Who was next to you?
Oh,
was it a Diamondback or?
It was an old Diamondback. I can't remember his name. But he's old Diamondback, and we were chopping it up all the time. But like that's a cool thing that I'll transition to is that's what happens. That's what led me to that. If I didn't go through my path, I couldn't have got to there. And going back, I wouldn't trade anything because I've learned so many things from each school I went to. I've learned every opportunity, and that's what's cool is I can pass this on to you guys watching, to the parents watching this. Is that it's a learning process, but it's attainable, and you don't always have to go that Division I route. There's so many schools out there and so many coaches that are needing you, but they don't know about you yet. So that's why it's really important to market yourself.
Yeah, and I'll close this up. We have less than a minute. We're not banging on Division I at all. On the contrary, actually, we're just trying to get people to really understand the real truth about getting to a D1 school. And there's 6 catchers, there's 6 shortstops, there's 6 outfielders. You're going to get cut. It's a cutthroat island. They can do that because they have the money, right? And the people that stick it out can stick it out. That's great. But we know personally of catchers that went to Arizona State that played 3 years and didn't even sniff the field. And that was their whole career. They never got to play in college, which was horrible. And that was kind of weighed on you